Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's so good to be here tonight. Finally, after a couple of months of social distancing and lockdown, we can finally come together and enjoy design and designers and the presentations. Welcome at the first edition of the Kazerne Design Awards here at the Kazerne in Eindhoven. My name is Jeroen Junte. I'm a design journalist here in the Netherlands, and I will be your host tonight. So welcome audience here. There will be 10 designers presenting. Also welcome the people at, well, wherever you are behind your screen watching and following us on YouTube. We will have an exciting evening coming ahead. As I said, we're not there yet, so there are some pretty strict COVID-19 regulations here tonight. After each presentations, we have this mic cleaning lady here in the corner. She will clean and disinfect all the mics after the presentations, so in that aspect we'll be safe. At all distances, at all costs, we will keep a 1.5 meter distance here on stage. So I think in that aspect we should be safe here tonight. And before we start with the 10 pitches of the nominees for the Kazerne Design Award, at this point I would very much like to invite on stage the initiator of this new award, ANNEMOON GEURTS. Can I please have a warm welcome for ANNEMOON? No? There's a clean mic there, ANNEMOON? I saw you nodding no.
No.
You're not from the Kazerne?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
It's on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I'm the founder of Kazerne, but I'm not the initiator of the Kazerne Design Award.
Oh, who is then?
Yes.
If it's not the
this
Kazerne.
is Loyola Foundation, Stichting Loyola in Dutch. And actually, they are the initiators of this prize.
They're more than just the sponsors and the people enabling the prize. They're actually the initiators of this prize.
Yes, they are. And we are really, really happy for that. So thank you.
Thank you. Can I have like a small applause? No shouting, but only applause, yes. And it's a grand prize. It's a €5,000 prize. I mean, for young designers, that's quite a lot of money.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
That's not. I haven't made that every month the last couple of months, so it's quite a lot of money. Can you tell me about this prize? There are many design prizes. Why is it so important to have this prize? And what differentiated this prize from all the other ones?
This prize is meant to encourage alumni from the Design Academy Eindhoven. I'm a alumni myself, alumnus. Yes, and I'm really proud of what everyone here in Eindhoven is achieving after their graduation. We have designers that make worldwide impact, and I think we need to celebrate it. So that's what we do here in Kazerne on a daily basis. But with this special prize, we encourage the young designers that are just a few months from the school. And I wish I had such a prize then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It's great, and it's not only the prize; it's also that we try to connect them to new opportunities from our network.
And of course, the recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 10 designers. There's an exhibition here at the Kazerne. I had a preview, so before the pitches, I had a look at all your work, and I am very, very glad that I'm not the jury, because I think you will have a very, very strong task to select one of these as, I wouldn't say a winner, because in my opinion they're probably all winners. There's just one that needs maybe a little bit more attention for reasons, well, that's up to you, to the jury. Before we run through the jury, can you tell me a little bit more about the Loyola Foundation?
Yeah, actually, I can, but may I? Yeah. The Loyola Foundation supports artists and now for the first time designers for 3 years in the development of their career. So before there was a musician, maybe you can name the musician? Amanda Dram, sorry. Yeah. So Still, okay. So they support people in their
young talents in sports, in culture, in the development. Is it specific in this region of Eindhoven or internationally? Okay, so it's an international, international
mostly
foundation.
in the Netherlands, but also in Tanzania, for instance.
Okay, because I ask because a lot of the 10 nominees are actually from different countries. They work here in Eindhoven, but the Design Academy is an international school with a very international amount of graduates every year. And what I find interesting in choosing the Design Academy, because I think it's the school in the Netherlands with the highest output of excellent designers. So it's not that you just the best of the Design Academy, but that immediately puts you 10 being nominated here already on top of the Netherlands in the design world, in the young design talents. So you already got that in the pocket, all 10 of you. I see here before me, amongst the audience, 10 young designers as a nominee. How were they nominated? Can you tell me a little bit about that, ANNEMOON?
We're 3 people in the jury. Lonneke Gordijn, KIKI van Eijk, and myself.
So it's an all-female jury we have here.
This is actually, I think, a coincidence, but it's also a nice coincidence.
I'm a journalist. I don't believe in coincidence, but I think it's very, very good to have a female jury.
Yeah, and we all scouted last graduation show, so during the design week, and we handpicked each 3 nominees, and then there was someone extra. And
it's a wild card.
Yeah, it's a wild card.
It's not a design award if there's not a wild card. That's very good. Let me quickly give a brief introduction of the 2 other jury members. Lonneke Gordijn, she's a founding partner of the Dutch studio Drift. And we all know Drift, of course, of drones flying over Miami Beach or het IJ in Amsterdam. We also know them, excuse me. Nothing to worry, it's just a little piece of the dessert still in my throat. No worries. Studio Drift, you might have seen them in the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam with their blockbuster show, and they're doing shows all over the world. So I think we have already an excellent jury. Lonneke graduated in 2005, so you can see where you might be in 15 years, young designers. The other member of the jury is KIKI van Eijk. She graduated in 2000, and she's done many projects. Among one of them should have been an open air installation on Coachella Festival, which was postponed, so we can enjoy that next year. And there's also a solo exhibition of her coming up in a textile museum in Tilburg in the Netherlands. With ANNEMOON, that makes 3, and I think the Loyola Foundation is also a jury member.
And I graduated in 95, so this is 5 years.
So there's a 5-year interval. Okay, interesting. We'll see how that works when at the end of the evening. I think for now, everybody understands what's the purpose of this evening. That is to celebrate design and to have a beautiful evening, and to especially what I'm looking forward is to hear and see inspiring and very innovating projects of the young designers. Thank you so much, ANNEMOON.
Go for it. Yeah, thank you.
And yes, a warm applause, of course, for the Kazerne being our host. And like I said, I have to flip this over 1 second. Well, try doing that with one hand. As we all know, there is a COVID-19 pandemic. So 2 of the young designers presenting tonight were not able to be here with us tonight, but luckily we have Zoom and we have Teams and we have Skype and we have all these beautiful digital means, and we're all used to it already. And I think the first designer is already logged in. Is he standby? Okay, I'll give him a short introduction. It is FEDERICO Rosa, and his project is called ACQUA ALTA. He is from Italy, and he graduated last year, of course, because all the young designers graduated last year. at Man and Communication at the Design Academy. Federico, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're still waiting for an image.
Great.
Are you ready? Are you good to go?
Yeah, I am. If you can play the video.
Okay, you've got 3 minutes, like everybody else, and be aware, I'm brutal. You have 3 minutes. If you can't do it in 3 minutes, you can't do it at all, right?
I will.
Okay, good luck.
Hello, can you still hear me? Perfect. So hello everyone, I'm Federico Rosa. I graduated last year for Many Communication, and this was a visual introduction to what ACQUA ALTA actually means and represents. ACQUA ALTA literally means high tide, and the concept behind my project is quite straightforward. I've made the furniture set that wants to translate the effects of high tide in Venice by creating a new aesthetic which references the classic Republican style. As the sea level is rising, floods in Venice are getting worse and worse. Water enters houses, restaurants more and more often, but there is still not a solid policy to actually save the city. So as a local designer, I decided, to try and do something about it, and what I can do from my point of view is try and raise some awareness through my project. The idea basically came from my last visit to Venice, my hometown, before the graduation module, and in that week I randomly encountered an extraordinary low tide, actually, as you can see in this picture, which showed all the formations, barnacles, seaweed that accumulated in hundreds of years of sea level rise. So I thought that actually those natural elements had their own beauty, and that's how basically everything started. I took those elements, I studied them, I played a bit around with materials, I made a few tests, and I decided to combine them with the traditional laccato veneziano style, which is this Barockish style that is very representative of the Republican age. And this is what came out of it. The result is basically a reinterpretation of the classic Baroque models, with the tip of each leg that represent the average height of the water level when it actually floods the city. So these around 25 centimeters, it's meant to translate also these height. The legs in particular were modeled 3D from 3D scans of the original sediments, which I 3D printed then, molded and casted 10 times to make all the legs that I actually needed for the whole set.
10 seconds.
Was it a question?
No, there was a remark. 10 seconds.
Okay. Sorry. So yeah, ideally they would be made out of bronze, but my wallet during graduation wasn't one of the fattest. Therefore, they are now just plastic, but that's the original idea.
Okay, they should be in bronze. Beautiful project, Federico. No. Like I said, I have to be brutal. There are 9 others, and they all want their share of the time as well. I've got one question for you, Federico. What's the weather like at the moment in Venice?
Sorry, can you be a bit louder?
What's the weather like at the moment?
The weather,
yes,
at the moment is pretty good, and the water is not that high at the moment.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. It was a very clear presentation, Federico. We could hear you very well. We saw the images. And stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be back. We'll be back. This was the first one. And I think here, as you see immediately, the standards are pretty high. It's a very poetic, beautiful project. Though personally, I don't live in Venice. I would love to have one of these chairs at home, really. The second one, FIDES LAPIDAIRE, with her project BROODJE POEP, which I translate as a shit sandwich. And FIDES graduated from Man and Leisure, and she's from the Netherlands. And where are you? Yes, come to the stage. Yeah, give her a hand. FIDES, also for you. There is a beautifully clean, disinfected mic. There is a clicker. There should be a clicker. Don't worry, your time's not running yet. No. It won't run until I say so. But you got 3 minutes, like everybody else. Be aware.
I'm terrible with time.
Okay. I'm not. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Let's talk about shit. I'm FIDES LAPIDAIRE. I call myself a social designer. And I've been talking about shit for the last year with a lot of passion and joy. It's so much fun. And I hope I can transfer a little bit of that passionate about shit on you tonight. And I did that with my graduation project, BROODJE POEP, shit sandwich. You can see it here. What do I do here? I collect POEP, your POEP. It's outside, just please give me some. I compost it, and from that compost, ingredients grow for my sandwiches, which I sell with discount if you donate your shit with me to the people. And what I'm really trying to say here is shit is valuable. Shit is the missing link to an important issue that we're really not aware of, and that's to close our food cycle. It's quite logical. I mean, we eat nutrients, 99% we shit and pee out again, and our land needs it to create more food. Very logical. But what we do now is we flush it. We go into a little room, very secretly, we lock the door and we flush it away with our drinking water. The biggest pollution in our house is our toilet. We know 4 to 10 liters of drinking water every time you use the toilet. It's so easy to do it differently. Why are we not doing it? Is it the knowledge? No, we've known this for a very long time. We've done it for a very long time. Is it the technology? Not really. Why is it like this? Well, we have learned, like I have also learned from Ome Willem, that shit is dirty. It's something you do in a little room and not talk about ever. So with BROODJE POEP, I really want to talk about it. I want to make people aware that you are creating value. Every time you sit on the toilet, you are creating something that our world really needs because our nutrients are running out, the mines are running out, the ways to make a fertilizer costs a lot of fossil fuels. I can go on and on. So shit is valuable. With that, I've been traveling a little bit, talking with TV, newspapers, giving lectures, really opening up about shit. And on the backside, I've been working with a foundation, with a scientist, and with a policymaker, and with a lot of other parties like Wageningen and Wetbox and Digital to really create this, because we need to redesign this whole circle because it's non-existent yet. Nobody talks about it. So, how do we with time? I've got time left? Okay, well, I'm going to leave you with this one message that I hope that every time that you go to the toilet now and you're about to, you put a lot of effort in it, and then you hit that button, you flush it away, and you think, fuck, let's give a shit.
Thank you. Right on time. Right on time. Thank you, FIDES. Thank you. No, please sit down. I mean, on your chair, eh? Please sit down. I think that was mind-blowing. No shit, really. I love it when designers, and I think that's one of the beauty things that designers can do. They can take something which maybe sound a little bit funny, but in the hands of a designer, they flip it around, and all of a sudden, it becomes a way of improving not only the world, but or not only a personal living environment, but even the whole world. And it's broken down to a context which it becomes very comprehensible and easy. Beautiful project, beautiful, and very, well, not only funny, but also beautiful. The next one coming up, and I have to look at my note because they're 10, they're quite a lot. And from a Dutch perspective, not all names are as obvious. So if I pronounce some names here, please forgive me. Next coming up, Romain Laval with the Ceremonic BLOB Factory. And Romain, there I go. Graduated in men and well-being, and he is from France. Can I please invite you to the stage? And on the way, pick up your clean mic on the corner. Time is running now.
So, a year ago I met Alice. Alice is a very organized person. She likes to, write notes in her notebooks. She likes to underline titles. She's this kind of person who likes good manners, but she's not that rigid. I also met Arthur. Arthur, he's kind of a cerebral person. He likes to question, questions again. He's more into shaping things than trying to find an answer. And then I met Angeline. She's a pretty clear woman. She likes to be very straight on point. And she told me like, well, if you're well in your body, you're well in your mind. Clear, straight. But what I also liked in Angeline, she's also someone that you can really count on, because she's actually, you see, like running this whole factory. She's kind of the motor of the whole system. Well, after that I kind of met her. Because she's like this kind of lady who is, she's not really so empathic. Like she kind of like being here, but she doesn't really like you to kind of step in her life. So I can't really say a lot of things about her, but yeah, she's part of this process. And after I met Tiffen. Tiffen, she's very conceptual. We talked a lot, and she really sees life through her lens. She likes to play subjects, to replace them, to see how it resonates with the surrounding, and she really questions a lot of things, and she's kind of a very beautiful character with a lot of poetry. And at the end I met Marcel. Marcel is like, it's kind of like up there person, kind of hard to reach. And you always think that he's gonna topple over, but actually he always manages to reach his point, which is kind of surprising. And so then I was going back home, and suddenly Stephen came to me and she brought me one of this mug, and she told me, take it. I was like, well, thank you, I really appreciate it. She was, no, take it, because actually all those mugs are a representation of all our singularities, and that's what makes the value of this object. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh wow! You have a little bit of time left, and I'm going to use it to ask you one question. Yeah, that's
okay.
Spare the time, you get it back from me. That's also as I can be. This movie, I think is it a visualization of a production of a crafts production?
But let's say it's more like a kind of another reality of an industrial production process.
Is it like an alternative you're offering, or is it more?
I think it's more a visualization to kind of question the actual industrialization process, and that was for me a way to kind of escape and proposing a way out than really tackling topic with a lot of data and like a very specific word actually, which needs a lot of time to get into it.
3 minutes. Sorry about that. You even had a little more. I'm going to introduce the next one. And meanwhile, I'm going to fix this microphone, but I think it's some way leaking a little bit. Thank you so much, Romain. Next up is, yes, of course, lots of applause. I'd really love to give you, I would love for you to give lots of applause to encourage these young designers. Next up is SHAAKIRA JASSAT with her project Teardrop. Yep, yep. SHAAKIRA, she graduated at Food Non-Food. This is the food department at Design Academy, and she's from South Africa. SHAAKIRA, pick up your mic here and pick up your clicker as well. Yep. I think it's on. I'm on my way.
So have you ever thought of how many liters of water it takes to make a single cup of tea? Not 10 or even 20, but 30 liters of virtual water.
SHAAKIRA, I think you have to get on stage. Because otherwise the people on YouTube won't see you. Is that a big problem? Of course I'll start your time. I'm not that brutal. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go.
So have you ever thought of how many liters of water it takes to make a single cup of tea? Not 10 or even 20, but 30 liters of virtual water gets used up in the tea production chain just to make this single cup. Water is something easy to take for granted here in the Netherlands. Yet, I'm from South Africa, and I've experienced what drought is like. When Cape Town experienced J0, the day the taps were anticipated to run dry, we were only allowed to use 50 liters of water per person. But this is just the visible water. What about all the invisible water contained in our daily activities, like washing our clothes or cleaning the dishes? When I was in the drought back home, it got me thinking. How can I inspire people to become more aware of the hidden water that they use daily? All this talk about water and thinking about how we use it got me thinking. It brought me to this Teardrop, a tea machine which harvests its own water and works on its own time frame, with the time to contemplate on the source of that water built into its design. Droplets of water form when moisture from the humid atmosphere touches the cold cone and condenses. Each morning, we fill up our kettles without a second thought, but with Teardrop, you have to wait till you have enough water before you can go on making your tea. This installation gave me the opportunity to get out of the design world and into the tea farm. It was there that I discovered that tea needs lots of water to grow, but water from leaves evaporates back into the atmosphere, making water a byproduct of tea production. It became clear that there is a lot of hidden water surrounding us, and I wanted to use this to tell the story. So I began looking at the crossovers between science and technology, researching condensation principles and learning how to achieve thermodynamics with the help of an engineer. My challenge really was to bring all of that knowledge together into a single, multifaceted design piece. Water on tap was heavily threatened in South Africa in 2017, and drought is becoming a more common occurrence worldwide. Independent from the tap, harvesting moisture as and when the environment is able to give to us, Teardrop allows us the space to really reflect on every single drop of that water. Thank you.
Hello? Yes. Wow, that was 3 minutes on the spot.
Yeah.
A special recommendation here. Can I have one warm applause for SHAAKIRA? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can get the mic disinfected over there. What a beautiful project. Wow, beautiful. We are in a hurry because there's 6 more and time is running. So I'll introduce immediately the next one. PAULINE ESPARON with her project called, yes, Les Chaussures. And Pauline, no, it was not. No, my French is a bit rusty. I should practice it more. But the last couple of months, no opportunity. Pauline, welcome on stage. Your project's called Les Coucheurs.
Les coucheurs.
Les Coucheurs. And you studied men and well-being, and you're obviously from France.
Yes.
Okay, take it away. Good luck.
Thank you. So this project is about flax. So it's a fiber to make linen. And to explain a bit the situation, flax is mainly growing there, so mainly in France, also a bit in Belgium and Netherlands. It's harvested there and it's extracted there as a fiber. But then it pretty much all has to be sent to China to be combed, to be formed, and then it's re-imported back. So that's quite damaging in terms of pollution and quite contradictory to the sustainable growth of the fiber as well. So my question was, what if I use directly the raw fiber to step before this exportation and to try to create a local production? Because I think there is a potential for the material. Linen is quite standardized today. We often think it's matte, it's dry, it's gray, but it can actually be shiny or woolly or fluffy. So I think there is a lot of the raw richness of the material to rediscover. And there is a potential for local production because you have in Normandy companies working with flax, but working for insulation or composites for automotive design. So how to tweak what they do and how to diversify their application to create an ecosystem. So this has been the development of my diploma and the core of my work actually since then. What I'm presenting here in Kazerne is a POEP. So it's like it's using the short fiber of the flax, that over the combing of the fiber, and I used it inside as a stuffing material, but also outside to really play with that expressivity of it and this almost animal woolly like effect whenever it comes from a plant. And it's part of a broader collection of objects and furniture that really plays with that raw material. So there's no yarn at all, to really show new aspects of the linen and also create, encourage, and sustain a local production. Thanks.
Wow. Stay. I have one more question. It's because you still have time. Like I said, I'm not that kind of guy.
I didn't expect that.
No. I have time for one question. You've tried this with flax. Could you imagine that you would do it with other materials as well?
Yeah, for me, it really started because the fields were close to mine. But a lot of the natural fibers are having the same experience of being exported to be processed and manufactured and then re-imported. With this project, I'm not saying I'm going to compete with the big market, but just show an alternative of production. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's enough. You're over your time now. Thank you so much, Pauline. We're halfway. Now we've seen 5 brilliant projects. I'm going to give you sort of a short recap on those 5, because otherwise the next 5 will come and then you're like, oh, who's number 2, who's number 3? In the meanwhile, I must admit, the 6th presentation is being prepared, because that's also a designer who could not make it here tonight because of the COVID-19. So a recap. What struck me of the 5 designers we've seen so far, that they're all questioning the world as it is. They're questioning the way how we use raw materials and ship them all around the world. They question how we shit and what we do with our shit. Also, we saw a project beautifully, poetically visualized in a short movie of how the industrial production works and how it could actually be more human. And also, of course, we've seen a very tangible project of furniture coming from Venice, but I think rising water problems are in the Netherlands just as urgent as they are in Venice. So I think there's also a bright, big future for these projects. And of course the Teardrop, a beautiful project that makes visible what's invisible, namely water in the air, and water is what we need maybe just as much as food and as sleep. So all these designers, I think I had you all 5, right? So all these projects are questioning and sort of rearranging and delivering alternatives for the way we organize our production and our consumption. So very powerful projects, I'd say. Then the 6th designer, is he lined up? And yes, and the next one is MIES RAADGEVER. She studied man and communication, and MIES is, as you all could have guessed, from the Netherlands. And her project is called The Whole Trap. MIES, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, like everybody else, you got 3 minutes.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck.
you. Thanks. First of all, thanks for the nomination. I'm very happy I can be here in this way, although I cannot be there in person. And The Whole Trap is an illustrated story that raises awareness of the need to change our ways and to change the view and approach on environmental changes and danger. And I would like to start to read a fragment from an article from Paul Kinglord that has been an inspiration for my book. If you don't like any of this, but you know you can't stop it, where does it leave you? The answer is that it leaves you with an obligation to be honest about where you are in history's great cycle, and that you have the power to do and what you don't. If you think you can magic us out of the progress trap with new ideas or new technologies, you are wasting your time. If you draw up a great big plan for a better world based on science and rational arguments, you will be wasting your time. Insisting that nature has a value beyond utility and telling everyone, remember that you are one life form among many and understand that everything has intrinsic value. If that seems too gooey, just look up into the sky. Sit on the grass, touch a tree trunk and walk into the hills. Dig in the garden and look at what you find in the soil. Marvel at what the hell this thing called life could possibly be. Value it for what it is, try to understand what it is, and have nothing but pity or contempt for people who tell you that its only value is in what they can extract from it. So dive into the world of Nam-Hu and Leaf. They inhabit a fictional place where the issues relating to today's problem and pollution are facing you. The threat of habitats of many creatures and extinction of endangered species. Nam-Hu and Leaf are all separately struggling with one of these threats. Although all this misery, a connection between the three is never far away. We all know that pollution is an enormous global threat to life on Earth. Many of us feel the urge to do something, but don't really know how to. The scale of the problem is too big, and we're overwhelmed by facts, news fragments, and real events. This scares people, and they will shut off or turn away from the problem, because they think that they can't solve it or have any impact on it. I'm also not giving a new solution that will serve the people, but I will speak to them to change their own behavior. By shrinking this situation and the problem into the pages of a book and giving the big issue a character can help us connect with our reality.
10 seconds.
Yes. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Miss, your presentation was clearly visible. I hope you still hear me. Your presentation was clearly visible. So thank you for joining and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one coming up, Lea Orta. That's finally a name I can pronounce immediately. That's a good name, Leo Orta. Leo, his project is called Creatures in Retention. He studied man and leisure, and he is from France. And you've got 3 minutes, Leo. No, time's not running. I think that there's, yep, there you are,
Here we
Leo.
go. So I looked at creators and retention in the idea of looking at the use of technology and the use of electronical devices in the household. So I wanted to shape a little bit like the way we look at these electronical waste and the way we use it in the house. So I looked at my personal use of this object, and along all the years that I lived, I had like all these old phones, all these old devices stocked in the drawers of my room, of the house, in the garage. You know, like my mom has kept all the things of her grandfather in the storage and everything. So I started looking into why do we do this. It's because of the personal value to this object, and what does it do also to the cycle of this object. So today, West is one of the biggest waste of electronic. Like Europe and United States throws all the waste towards Africa and Asian country. So if I started looking into this, it's also in the idea of how we treat that waste. So for example, most of it goes to landfill, incinerations, and it goes to places that are uncontrolled because we sell that waste. Looking at one specific location, it's the lion dogs of China is one of the identity that I used to shape also this. So that waste for me was also a fear that had to come out, and had to be something that had to be experienced by the viewer to understand also the awareness behind it. So I used the element of the creatures of the monster to be able to shape this. So you can see I decomposed on all the Philips phone, and each of the elements of that phone was used inside of the design of the lion. So for example, the feet were composed with all the digital buttons. The cables were used also for turning around the shapes, and all of this helped me to give identity to that creature also. So it gave it like the character that it needed to be also to become a functional fossil, and to be able then after to implement in the house, back in the household, to raise back that visibility also.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you. That was a wild animal you made there out of our waste product. Beautiful. The microphone is leaking a little bit sometimes. I just heard from the technical department, two people over there, and there are two people working on the technique. The best for you during your presentation to keep right on the stage. And since I'm standing here, it's going pretty well, right? So, Lucas Cito, you're up next. And stay right on the stage, Lucas. And you're going to present the project called Filter Loop. And Lucas studied public-private, the department at the Design Academy. And Lucas, you can pick up your disinfected microphone and clicker on the left side at the mic cleaning lady. The clicker is there. Yeah, it's very clear. You got 3 minutes. No worry, time's not running yet. Oops, time's running.
Thank you for having me tonight. Hi, Mom. So, my name is Lucas Ito, and I will talk to you about a project in which I try to re-evaluate, reassess the value of a dirty cigarette filter. So, starting with the facts, we are 1 billion smokers in the world. 75% of all cigarettes smoked tend to end up on the ground, and that's 2.3 million cigarettes every minute, so the weight equivalent of 1,200 cars. The issue is that when somebody discards a cigarette, it eventually gets in contact with water, where it leaks all of its chemicals and then degrade into microplastics. And these particles are then going to get eaten by fish and birds before accumulating in our soil. And ultimately, they're going to reach us back at home onto our plates, through fishing and agriculture. So There is something quite taboo about this product, the cigarette filter, and this is what drew my fascination in 2017 when I created this crafting technique to clean and work this very abundant material, cellulose acetate. And this is on what I based my graduation project in 2019, where I tried to industrialize this technique through the creation of a theoretical machine and a social system. Earlier this year, I've started building the machine in my parents' basement, so you can see it right there. And the focus of the graduation project was to create something engaging, something that generates awareness through playfulness, and most importantly, a rewarding system, because I know for a fact that people will just work better when they work towards a reward. So the idea was to stimulate individual civic behaviors through depollution rather than not polluting. So the proposition of the graduation project was to create a public intervention in which people can collect a quantity of cigarette filters, place them in the collector of the machine, from which they receive a ticket that reflects the value they've collected. In the meantime, that material is getting processed in the machine, and then when the user scans the receipt, they basically collect their usable material. And I offer them the possibility to print a trophy, an object, but most likely a 3D scan version of themselves. So the bigger the collect, the bigger the trophy, the bigger the them. And so the current state of this project is that I'm still building the machine, and I've collected
You have
about
10 seconds.
11 kilos of cigarette filters, which is a lot. And it's a very, very versatile material, and it's abundant. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lucas. Right on time, because I'm going to get on stage, and you don't want that, Lucas. Thank you so much for your presentation. Are you a smoker, Lucas? Oh, he's a smoker. Okay. It takes one to know one, eh? Okay. That doesn't interfere with your project. It's still beautiful. The jury probably won't take that in consideration, that you're a smoker. Next up, Clara Lemeur. And Clara, yes, yes, you can pick up your disinfected mic on the left side and your clicker. And the project of Clara is called Valuable Gesture Factory, and Clara graduated at Man and Well-Being at the Design Academy. The floor is yours, Clara.
Thank you. Hi. So for this project, I focus on the interaction between users and artifacts. And looking around, I realized that these interactions are becoming more and more digitalized. And a lot of objects that were existing as their physical shapes are becoming pixels on flat surface. And therefore, the interaction we have with this object are totally different than the one we had with physical objects. This change actually started in 1880 when IBM developed the first computer, inspired from the Jacquard loom made in 1801 in France. It was working with punch cards, which are the ancestor of binary code. A hole is a 0, a 1 is no hole. And then progress occurred. And nowadays it is becoming so complex that we cannot imagine what is happening between the moment of interaction with this digital platform and the desired outcome. For example, when we are using an online platform like Instagram, when we put image of cat with the hashtag cat underneath, we are actually training an artificial intelligence to recognize how a cat looks like. So this artificial intelligence can then be sold to a really high price. I believe that as users, we need to understand how these systems are working and what is happening when we are using these platforms, because it's really important to be able to talk about them and to regulate them. In this context, I developed the Valuable Gesture Factory, which is a factory that is translating data back into physical object, which is a piece of textile. So the users of the factory are using the online platform of the factory, an Instagram account, to generate data, which is harvested by an algorithm, which is generating a punch card accordingly. Then these punch cards are becoming physical, and they are our trace on the web. They are our identity that we live on the web. This punch card can then be read by the loom, the tiny Jacquard loom that I developed, which is working with the analog binary code. And then we have a piece of textile that is representing our activity on the web. More we are using this digital platform, the more we are generating data, and therefore the more we are generating the piece of textile and singular patterns. This piece of textile can then be sold. Artificial intelligence is actually sold. So for this project, I wanted to translate back to physical digital phenomenon, because I believe that it's really important to be able to relate to this kind of system with our senses in order to be able to understand them better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful project. No, your time's up. You had 3 minutes. That time is up. You can leave your mic, get it disinfected. Beautiful project. How you can take the data and give it back to the people. That's a beautiful project, like all the other ones, of course. Already, the next one's coming up, and it's a digital one. No. Am I mistaken here? Okay. Put it. Okay, Jarden. Yeah, Jarden Colsley. There's something wrong with my note. Excuse me about that. You're ready, Jarden? You got your mic? You got your clicker?
Public-private.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you can. Okay, you're taking the. No, I'm going to run the time now, eh? Okay.
So, where is my...
The clicker, yeah, your time's running. No, it's not.
So my project basically starts 10 years ago when I joined my mandatory service in the Israeli army. I wanted to be a photographer, but you don't really choose where to go. So I joined in the dogs unit of the Israeli army. I took a lot of photos eventually, but I mainly took photos of my dog. This is Henky. Henky was a Dutch Shepherd. Actually, he came from the Netherlands. And now when I was researching the project, I found out that most of the trainers, breeders, and sellers of these dogs are actually located in North Brabant. Basically, 20 kilometers around us, you have hundreds of dogs that have been sold everywhere in the world. Now, there is a point to make. There is a policy that is not allowing, the Dutch government is not allowing people to sell any kind of weaponry or something that is like weaponry. Even face paint is not allowed to sell to places that have the risk of human rights violation. Now, Israel-Palestine conflict fits into that category. But when it comes to dogs, the Dutch customs does not make the distinction by a biting dog, or that it can smell explosives, or a chihuahua or a poodle. And for me, then it means that it's really about how you train the animal, because it's just a dog. So if it's how you train it, this is really what I wanted to do in my performance in my installation. I wanted it to be something you experience. So my installation starts with the act of biting on a stick. While doing this, you immediately lose a little bit of your liberty. You cannot speak. In fact, there is a machine that emits sound into the stick. The stick speaks to you. And you have a sensor that allows you to look for sounds in the space. Kind of like a dog looks for a smell. The installation has very different objects. Each object talks about this subject. Basically, this is how the installation looks like. You can walk in and listen to the narrative. It's been told from two characters. One is me as my own experience, what I've been through, how I've been trained. And one is from the Dutch trainer and breeder, which is based on interviews I made and what I found out. And some people will go inside and feel confident and play around. Some people will be intimidated because it's quite confrontational. So I have to reinforce them and pet them. It's kind of like you do to dogs. Every dog is different in that style. And I want to finish with this image of me and Henky. I feel that these dogs, we train them they don't understand the consequences. We train them on a rubber ball to bite, and then a youth sleeve, and then a human hand. They don't understand the distinction. And in this installation, I was asking myself and processing how would I been trained, what I've been through. and also how basically the Netherlands, how North Brabant is the backyard training zone for a lot of the world's conflict zones. So I thought this is a subject worth telling. Huh?
Thank you so much. Wow, that was dazzling. Can you remember all 10? Let me run you through it. I'll start with number 10, the project that was last, and then I'll work my way up to the first presentation, which was Federico. So I think that's good, because then you finish with the one who was first. That's the one you forget as well first. So before the jury will retreat, and they will retreat for like 25 minutes, and then we'll be back here with the announcement of the winner of the Kazerne Design Award. But before I do that, let me run you through the 10 projects. Jarden Kolsley, he was the last one, and he had a project about the dogs training, or no, humans being trained as a dog, or what it does to you, or what does it say about conflict, and what does it say about national states and how they interfere in conflicts. Before that was Clara Lemeur. She was giving back our data in a very analog way, like in scarves and textiles. A very beautiful project, turning the other way around. Usually what we analog becomes more digital, but she's making it tangible again. Then Lucas Zito, a strong project in the public space, and I think was very beautiful about it, that it's about joy and about rewarding. And I think that evoked a child in all of us. And personally, I love projects like that. Leo Orta, the wild animals made out of the waste, the electronic waste that we have at home. And I could picture myself having one of those in my living room. It's a wild beast. MIES RAADGEVER and her beautiful little book, very poetically taking us also on a level of full of fantasy, but at the same time showing us what shape the world is in and what we can do about it. Before that, PAULINE ESPARON with Les Couchers. It says here Les Couchers. It's written wrongly on my paper. And that also was a very, very strong project. All the projects I've seen were very powerful. SHAAKIRA JASSAT, she had the project, the tea drop, making the water, you know, what we have all around us, making that visible, and making tea, which is a ceremony which is, especially in Asia, you know, here we just drop a bag into a cup of hot water, but in Asia it's all about taking time in the ceremony. And now you have to wait for the water even. And that gives you also time to contemplate. Romain Laval, the ceramic blob factory, a very poetic but also critical observation of how industry and industrial production works and how it's sort of dehumanizing. The broodje poep, the shit sandwich, that speaks for itself, a very clear project. At first it may look funny, but there's a very strong undertone in it, and a very nice, very strong critical comment, but also solution. So it's a comment, a joke, and a solution in one. I think pretty powerful. And we started off with Federico Rosa, live from Venice, with beautiful objects, with turning the whole climate change and rising waters into a very aesthetical, beautiful object. Well, aren't we all very glad that we are not the jury here? I wish you all the best, the three of you, and also for you, it may not be 3 minutes, it's 25 minutes, but I'm just as brutal. So, the people at home, at YouTube, you can clean out the dishwasher, or you can go to the toilet, and if you poop, be aware. You can also take a cup of coffee, the people here. I expect you back in 20, also the people, the audience, you have 25 minutes, you can have a cup of coffee. Lucas, you can have a cigarette. And here in the hallway of the Kazerne, all 10 nominees and the projects are shown, and you can have a look there. Okay, there's the van outside, and we'll be back in 25 minutes live on YouTube. And of course, keep the distance. But the people at YouTube already keep their distance. Keep your distance, be aware, and see you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. The jury has reached the verdict. There is a winner tonight. Before we announce the winner, I would very much like to invite on stage Kiki van Eijk and Lonneke of Studio Drift, Lonneke Gordijn. They will give sort of an insight of the working of the jury and comment on some of the works. So, designers, are you nervous? No, they're not. No, they're not. Good. Kiki, Lonneke, may I invite you on stage and may I please have a warm welcome? And I'll have this mic affected.
Well, I can already start. We already saw, of course, all the projects at the graduation show a year ago. And then a couple of months ago, before COVID, as the jury, we came together. And then we came to the conclusion that we didn't have enough information because we really wanted to know who you were, how you would also present your project, because it's not only your project, but it's also you who is part of the success and the story. And we came in the room there just now, and we were really like, oh my God, we were so amazed and surprised by the extremely professional presentations. Really, everything was very competitive with each other in terms of quality and level. And we were very pleased that we had all selected you. So whoever wins tonight, I just want to say that we are very happy that we selected all of you and you are shortlisted for the Kazerne Design Awards, because it was marvelous and really an added value to see you presenting so professionally. So in that sense, we think you're all ready. It was also interesting to see that quite a lot of projects were about water, environment, and waste, or the relationship to this world. That were kind of the main topics, but then all in a complete individual way expressed, which is then also, we had put a list of how we judged things, but we all, couldn't really give notes to everything. So we are going to go through the list in the following order that you presented, to just say something briefly about everyone before we will announce the winner. So we do it. Do you want to say? You want to add something? Maybe. No, that's fine. Okay. So to start with Federico Rosa, live from Venice. We thought it was a. Can he see us or not? Where are you? Oh yeah. So I didn't know where to watch, but we thought the film and the imagery that you used in your presentation was very beautiful. It was a very clear concept, an important topic. Would be also interesting to see this concept related to other places in the world, because the issue of water rising and is in other places. But great presentation.
FIDES, LAPIDAIRE, BROODJE POEP. We thought it was just very original concept, and your presentation was fantastic. I think you made everybody curious and at the same time motivated. So it's a very good way of something very banal to show it in a way that you really show the relevance of this project. So We only thought that maybe because it's really good that it's so joyful and everything, but maybe it would be good also as a next step to take the next step in there in your presentation, in your physical presentation of the caravan.
Romain Laval, the ceramic blob factory. Also, your film was very authentic. The presentation that you choose and your project is about authenticity. So I think that connection was really, really well done. I thought the concept could have been a little bit more clear. So maybe you could, well, no, I'm not going to fill in what I would have done. I think I should now shut my mouth here. But the originality of the film was really mind-blowing. And that, I think, was outstanding of your presentation. And the question about mass production and how to individualize and look at that in an individual way is a very important and relevant topic.
Then SHAAKIRA, JASSAT, T-Drop. We thought that your project is very special because it's mindful. I've traveled a lot around the world myself and to all kind of places, and each time when I got back into Holland, I was always surprised that we shower ourselves in drinking water and how, you know, how much water we use, and we don't really think of that. Where in India, for example, you use a bucket shower, which means a little bucket with hot boiled water, and that's it. And I think, and that was also the beauty of it. So I think, yeah, it's really well done. It's poetic and it gives a statement and it makes us think about these everyday things in life.
Pauline ESPARON, les coucheurs, if I say that well. I think in the first place your project looks very extremely beautiful and that is very appealing, but when you also hear the story behind and how close you looked in your environment to find inspiration, how you found actually a very feasible solution, and also a very functional object that also has beauty and solutions in it. Very clear, beautiful project.
Then MIES RAADGEVER. She's not here with us, but there in the camera. The whole trap. Her book about environmental issues, I think, was done in a very intimate way, which I think is also very brave to do, because with the graduation, a lot of people tend to do something big, to do something with a lot of impact, and you chose to do something very intimate, as small as a book, which I think is very brave, and it connects the macro with the micro world.
Leo ORTA, Creatures of Retention. Very original and recognizable style. In that way, very authentic. And how you said it, very free, I think, from it's more almost more like an artwork, and that is also perfectly fine, in my opinion. So more like an autonomous, personal, I would say, evaluation of how you look at the world, which is very well, interesting and original. Yeah, that were my points.
Then Lucas Cito, Filter Loop. Again, a daring project and a very original way to address contemporary problems, such as waste, which we find on the street everywhere. It gives a new perspective on things and very well executed, very well thought through, the whole system. Personally, I'm not a fan of the fact that it's about cigarettes, because I believe that cigarettes shouldn't be sold anymore in the world. So if you could do that with other waste materials, I would be very happy for the future.
Clara Lemeur, Valuable Gesture Factory. Your presentation was very clear story, very relevant, It's something I think we all relate to because, well, all the projects, I guess, but the distance between the digital world and how things function and how that actually relates back to our history of how digitalization came into being is very clear told. Very intelligent project and also a beautiful outcome. The wish would be to, which is very hard, I think also, which is the issue that you actually bring up, but maybe also comes across in your project, is it's very hard to get that message, that digital message back in the fabric, but it brings a tangible thing definitely back. But I think maybe that even communicates, maybe therefore I realize now, it really is very hard to communicate that digital information into any other way than the outcome, how it's translated digitally. So that is very, interesting, I think, very interesting topic to dive deeper in. I don't know if you're doing that, but be very interesting to see what comes out of that research.
Then the last one, Yaden Kolsi, Old Dog New Tricks. Very interesting that it comes from a personal experience of you originally, and the fact that in Israel even girls have to go into the army, and that this is an experience that we don't all have in each of the countries. And then this perspective on the dogs is something, for me it's an eye-opener, and I think for a lot of us, because you are really not aware that they are trained for wars and other purposes. So I think it's a very interesting topic, and also your execution, the way you invited people to in fact get the same training as a dog or feeling is very interesting. At the same time, it might be for some people a bit difficult to understand the final presentation, but I think it's very daring that you took this topic.
So everyone, really congratulations with these amazing projects, and we are very curious of your next steps. And maybe that would be interesting to hear after this, after the announcement, because now we go to the winner. Oh no! Oh, sorry.
No. I have one other announcement to make. My partner Joost and me, we have a studio here in Eindhoven, near the canal, and since this year it's pretty difficult for a lot of people to find a presentation place, because during Dutch Design Week there are only 30 main locations, and we are one of them. We thought already quite some time ago to give one person, one just graduated, a platform in our studio, and I have found one tonight, and that's Romain. I have looked yesterday with Joost at your video on a big screen, and we were really impressed, because it's very poetic. It addresses a very relevant theme, I think, at this moment where everything is in transformation. Industries have to rethink how they produce things, how they can do it in a different way. And at the same time, I think it's also fantastic how you combine all kind of elements of design in your video. There is scenography, there is theater, there you make a statement. So, and at the same time it's fun. It's also very French, I think. I like that a lot. So we would like to invite you to present your video in our studio during Dutch Design Week.
Yes, I'm here. There's already one winner. That's cool. That's cool. So there's still 10 left. You could take 2 prizes. Thank you for the elaboration and the and your comments on the 10 young designers and contesting for the Kazerne Design Award, this first edition. And while you were commenting, I was thinking, like, how can we put them all together? What binds them? And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, well, Design Academy. That's what you get when you take 1 year, sort of a cross-section of graduates of the Design Academy there. Then you get POEP. And then you get the dehumanized industry, and then you get dogs or people behaving like dogs, and all these different layers of design. But, of course, it's a bit sad, but there can be only one who will get the Kazerne Design Award. And for the announcement of the winner, I would like to invite on stage of the Loyola Foundation, Ms. Nasing, Lammy Nasing. You can get your disinfected mic on the left for the announcement of the winner. Can I please invite you on stage? Yes, so you found a winner.
Yes.
Is it on? Yeah, it's on. It's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we found a winner.
Okay, was it hard?
Yes, it was very hard, but we had too much time, so it was
Okay, so it wasn't a hung jury. It was everybody agreed on one winner.
Yes.
It was an unanimous
yes
winner. Okay.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the drummer wasn't able tonight, but I suggest we don't waste any more time, please.
Okay. I will tell first what was said about this design project. It was a layered project. It was visionary, poetic, and mindful. It makes a statement. The design was Teardrop, and the winner is SHAAKIRA JASSAT.
SHAAKIRA, can I please invite you on stage?
Congratulations.
I think I'm gonna cry.
Congratulations with this prize. It was you made a beautiful project. It's beautiful. You are getting an amount of money. Do you have an idea what you are going to spend this money to this project or to something else? Oh, yes, hello, the present. €5,000 for you.
I'm so
For your
humbled. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm in tears actually because, I mean, these projects mean so much to me, and it's not just the teardrop, but it's also the other water collector, and that's the one that I would like to really spend the money on, to be honest. I think teardrop is a conversation piece. It's doing its thing, it's moving around, and you know, people are looking at it, but there's the aquitecture, which is having the potential to actually harvest rainwater and make a difference. And that for me is where I think the money will go. So, yeah.
Very good. Okay. You get...
Thank you, Lammy. Thank you also, Lammy. I've got one more question for you, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Of course, in a couple of weeks, the new edition of the Dutch Design Week and also a new graduation show will be coming up. Yes. Will there be a next edition of the Kazerne Design Award?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's all we wanted to hear for ending this now. Thank you, Lammy. Okay. Wow, what a beautiful winner. What a beautiful winner. But I must say, I saw 10 winners here tonight with some amazing projects. Yep. One more round of applause for the 10 winners. And one winner that takes it almost all. And of course, there's another Romain with his project that we will be on show at Joost and Kiki at their studio during Design Week. Before we leave you, I say thank you to all the people at home, also MIES and FEDERICO, who joined us here tonight. The people at home at YouTube, and maybe the people who watch it later on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and I think the Kazerne Design Award kicked off really, really well. So designers for next year, you know what to do, because beating this edition will be really pretty tough. So, having said that, hope to see you next year at the next edition of the Kazerne Design Awards, and thank you so much.